So another Master Gardener, Joyce Riney, and I were asked to complete the application for Chapter of the Year in Kentucky. And the application has questions, and each of the questions are assigned points, and that's how the application is graded. So one of the first questions on the application was, describe your strategic plan. And Joyce and I sort of looked at each other, and I said, do we have a strategic plan? And she said, well, if we have, I don't know what it is. So we decided to, what shall we say, BS it. We had a mission statement, to provide research-based, scientific, horticulture information to our community, and we had some very broad objectives. But for my background, what we heard about strategic planning is, some is not a time and soon is not a number. Unless you have how much, by whom, by when, it's not a strategic plan. So Joyce and I fudged it, but from that, we thought, this would be a good idea, because every year we just sort of do what we do the year before. We struggle, like Annette said, with trying to find ways to evaluate our impact on the community, to measure it. And so we were helping to do her work, which is what part of our mission is to help our subject matter expert, our extension agent. And also we thought it might get us more focused because our resources are limited. And so how can we best spend our resources to accomplish something? So we decided to work on strategic planning, and since I had some little bit of experience in it at work, I was put in charge of it. And then Annette said, you know what, I think we can get some help on this. And I was like, oh my goodness, thank goodness we can get some help on it. And so then that's how you sort of came along for the ride. And when we saw that we had expert help from UK, it was like, oh my gosh, this is going to be wonderful. So that's how we got started. Everybody was excited, at least on the executive team. I can say that group of people was excited about having a strategic plan. And here's the process we're going to use. Just ask me and I'll tell you what we need to do and what we don't need to do. And we can have this done in one meeting. Listen to what I have to say, listen to what I have to say, write it down, we'll vote on it. And this will be a snap. Well, you suggested ripple effect mapping. Of course, I was had enough to know that when 4 or 5 people in an organization sit down and write the strategic plan, whoever gets it out and looks at it, who buys into it? Nobody. So I was willing to listen, and people were willing to listen to your idea about how we went about it. Now there was some enthusiasm, and there was also some hesitation. And I have to say I had both of those. You talked about ripple effect mapping, which I was unfamiliar with. I was familiar with appreciative inquiry. I had participated in that before, which is a different form of storytelling. So I was enthusiastic about that, because I saw how much pride and passion it brings out when people can tell their stories. First thing we did, we wanted to get a wide audience. So we typically have about, 25 or 30 people at our monthly meeting. But the executive committee agreed that we would break down and call past members that didn't come anymore. So what happened that day was, when you all led the meeting and asked people to tell their stories, honestly, I thought at times the group was going to stand up and cheer. There was a woman in my Master Gardener class from several years ago that was from another county, and she was little, lot of energy, great ideas, and she had gradually drifted away and didn't come to the meetings anymore. And I had really missed her because she was such a positive person. When she came to that meeting and she talked about the reason she hadn't been there was because she had taken ideas from this group to her own county, and she had gotten a grant from the fiscal court and developed a path with flowers at their local park and started a seed library at their library to copy our library. I thought I was going to cry. People just wanted to cheer, I think. And I heard another story. When we have a raised bed vegetable garden, demonstration garden at our extension office, well, I never thought about what happened to the vegetables. And when the people that worked on it talked about the vegetables are donated to local shelters for food, I'm not sure very many people knew that. And just the pride and enthusiasm, and really, like Annette said, amazement of what all was going on. I mean, I'm pretty involved in the group, and there were, I'd say, a third of the things that came out I didn't even know we did. It was very energizing, very energizing. I mean, in general, our meetings are like typical business meetings. You know, there's a treasurer's report and the secretary's report, and, you know, there are committee reports, but there's not an opportunity for the general audience to participate. I believe that the work was not really aspirational. So when people told stories in the ripple effect mapping, and you understood what was going on and then the impact of that, because you all kept asking the question, well, what happened because you did that? Or what happened because you did that? And people could see the impact of the work, then they wanted to be involved in it. And when you have a small group of people like the executive team or the people that do all the work, they see what they do, but they don't really see opportunities of what other people might be interested in doing. So I think the work became aspirational rather than a list of tasks. Does that make